Players play, tough players win, and yes, Tom Izzo does it his way, getting to the top of the Big Ten wins leaderboard. Oh, let's have a party with our guy Dave Klein of Spartans Illustrated. A sensational Saturday ahead.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Jaxon Kohler, Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Spartan friends, Spartan family, and I usually welcome the opposing fan base, but I got a hard time believing anyone from Champaign is tuning into this one. They're still trying to figure out how on earth they lost without creating some weird excuse or some boogeyman, but hey, what have you. We'll get into all their comments they had a few weeks ago at the end of this show. But right now, guys, please rate, review, subscribe, comment below your favorite part of the game, because my favorite part of the game was the whole game, DK. My God, Jaxon Kohler, 4 3-pointers. He came into this game with just 5 combined since December started. But our guy, you know what? It was told that, hey, he can stretch the floor. Yeah, he's good for like 1 or 2 shot attempts per game. How about canning 4 of them in a hostile atmosphere in Champaign to bring home the victory? There are 48,000 things we could talk about, but DK, outside of Jaxon Kohler, what put the glimmer in your eye on this beautiful Saturday night?
No, he was a stalwart, and he has been for really the first month of the season. He backs it up like into kind of January, where he's had some struggles, and then he finds himself and in a big way, in a big moment, like 4 for 5 from deep. Like, I don't know. I've been buying the shot, I think, overall during the – you got the broom up. I've been buying the shot overall, I think, during the course of maybe the last couple weeks. He's starting to get his legs into it, and, to find the bottom of the net for a team that struggled from deep for all season on the road in a spot where like they just absolutely needed it. And big time moment. I thought Trey Howman was really good this game. I thought Carr was great in the first half. The power forward spot, I think as a whole, like looked as good as it has been, and it really has struggled the last 5 games. So like on a night where just kind of everything came together and Michigan State was the tougher team, despite like the whistle in the second half going against them, no complaints, just finding a way. Like beautiful like Saturday night. Beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that funny when the whistle isn't going your way? Instead of getting a technical foul called on you with less than 5 minutes to go in one possession game, they actually just bite the floor, look inward, and take care of business themselves. Isn't that kind of funny how some teams in this conference do that? But, of course, led by Tom Izzo, and let's just talk about the history right now. Tom Izzo, 354 Big Ten wins. Now, it's a different discussion one day of what his best accolade will be. We could, also include the 8 Final Fours that he's also had, which is, by the way, 3 more than Illinois has in their entire history, which, wow, isn't that something? I could see why they hate the guy. But it's just how they did it today, DK, because they had to overcome a lot. Of course, the officiating, as you would expect, it was a little lopsided for the away team. It was 33 free throws for Illinois, 13 for Michigan State. And honestly, that was for some late fouls there at the end. Going into the bonus, yes, Illinois did it with 12:55 left in the game. DK, they were down 16 on the road in front of a Super Bowl crowd. Like, this was their biggest game of the regular season. Ticket prices reflected that, of course. And hey, I heard that Kasparis Yakanoa, whoever, the fact they only played it, 6 minutes last time, that was the whole reason they lost. Well, 37 minutes tonight for him. So they had to overcome all of that. And also, hey, some of this was self-inflicted too, DK. Let's not act like it was a perfect game. You didn't get great guard play, especially out of your starting point guard, but we don't have to talk about that today. Jaden Akins, very quiet in the first half, but they overcame it with that defense. They're always going to be a way that Michigan State is never out of these games. Usually your big come-from-behind teams are good three-point shooting teams. This one is not. But they're good at defending other teams from behind the arc. They held Illinois to 2 field goals in the last 10 minutes, 0 in the final 8 minutes. Jaxon Kohler, man of the hour, 23 points, 10 rebounds. MSU, 40 points in the paint. But of course, we already talked about the 4 3-pointers. Carson Cooper, 8 rebounds. Trey Howman, 14 points, 3 assists, 1 turnover. Cohen Carr, 10 first half points. And I will end my rambling and just blissful talking about this team with this. 41-36 rebounding win, 18 second chance points, 14 offensive rebounds for your Michigan State Spartans. And we're not done talking about Jaxon Kohler yet. He grabbed 6 of those. That man was on a tear tonight. Of everything that I just rattled off, anything come as like a big surprise to you? The obvious one is erasing a 16-point deficit on the road against a team, let's call it what it is, like as talented as Illinois. Could they be coached better? Yeah, probably. But what was the biggest surprise to you tonight, DK?
I think that this was a spot where you started having a little doubt creep in to a certain degree. You've lost 3 of the last 4. You're on the road. Like, we just watched Illinois kind of take care of business the last couple times at home. So you're wondering to yourself, is this a spot where, like, you've got Purdue coming into home off 2 losses, like on Tuesday. You got to go on the road to Michigan. Like, at a certain point, you got to have a backs against the wall moment where you step in and just step up to the plate. And I think that the complete answer between the staff, like some crazy lineups in the first half that kind of ended up keeping them afloat in some parts of the season, that's not been great for them, but they found a way. I think just overall, you look at it, 5 for 12 from 3-point. So they ended up taking 56 shots inside the arc and only shot 13 free throws. Like, that's kind of absurd. They lived at the rim and, like crazy. But at the same time, I think you just got timely buckets from guys like across the board. And I think that when you're talking about the strength in numbers for this team, it really comes down to the fact that if you can have multiple guys playing well at the same time with the depth, then that's where Michigan State really elevates. And they had a few guys going in the right direction tonight. Obviously, Kohler, Holloman, Jason, some spots. Like, it was a collective effort again. Akins found a little bit of what he needed to offensively, I think, in the second half and was more aggressive. And they just collectively got, as much as they needed to win by double digits on the road in a game that they were, not favored by for a tutty. So let's go.
No, just how the game started too. Down 16 points, I'm thinking, well, that's exactly how I thought this game would start, and I'd be lying through my teeth if I said, oh, I thought they could come back. No, absolutely not. Like, and just the way they did it too, especially with how the second half started, and I know this can be proven wrong by just looking at a box score or a game log, what have you, but it truly felt like from like the 17-minute mark to the 7-minute mark, neither team had empty possessions. Like, they were scoring both ways down the court. And Michigan State, they just went into the championship rounds stronger, better. I mean, that's the whole point of having a team that is deep, not just 6 players deep like Illinois. And I know this isn't Locked On Illini, which, by the way, our guy Sonny Verma, he does fantastic work over there. I obviously have some feelings and thoughts for a lot of Illinois fans. Our guy Sonny is not one of those people. I truly love that guy. But can we just coach Illinois really quick? Because, hey, Moritz Johnson, he is giving us the works down low in the paint. They're doing fantastic stuff with that pick and roll. They're also in the bonus with 12:55 left. Why did they stop going away from that? Why did they opt for 16 3-point attempts in the second half? They were getting whistles just whenever Spartan was around them. Like, how baffling is it to just see Illinois play the game like that? Thank you, Brad, for coaching your team like that. But, wow, we were the beneficiary of some unusual decision-making on the offensive end from Illinois late there.
Yeah, I think Brad has always been known as a talent accumulator, but he hasn't always been like a great in-game adjustment guy.
Bigger time.
Tonight. Yeah. We've seen it in some spots over the season. Everybody's asked, you look across the board, and they have a bunch of athletes that can get to the rim. I know they're more of a finesse team where they do want to take some jump shots, but it almost feels like they're like this faux Bama team where they looked at the stats and said, okay, we're either going to shoot threes or get to the rim. Well, you better either have some better shooters or some better athletes getting to the rim because Bama has both. And I think it's a circumstance where they're just, you went away from what was working. You got into the bonus, like just keep going downhill. And I think you're going to find probably some dividends there. It's very clear to watch the barrage of 3-point shooting despite this team continuing not to shoot well. Like we've complained about Michigan State shooting. Illinois fans have been in the same boat. And to shoot the number that they do, like, listen, like Michigan State's not a great 3-point shooting team, but they took 12 tonight. Illinois took 33. Like you're determining the game based on some of that. So I think overall there was some benefit of, Illinois not adjusting particularly late, but I think the way that the team just kind of ground one out, like you're right there. It's a 2-point game under 4. And you win by 14. So, like, obviously you pushed the right buttons the last 4 minutes and found a way to close on the road. Like, it's different. This team has proven that they're different over and over again. We needed to be reinforced that as a fan base, and now we finally got it again.
So the next topic of conversation is like, now what? But first, we're going to put old DK on ice here. I'm sorry, DK, because I got to talk people's ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook. That's right, America's #1 sportsbook. And I paid my penance tonight. That's right. When the game got close, I did do a live bet on Illinois because I'm a sick person. That's what I want to do. I hedge my happiness, and I did it over at FanDuel. So thank you, FanDuel, for recognizing my payment there and turning that into a Michigan State victory. You can keep that money as far as I'm concerned. Guys, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because with FanDuel, you can place live bets like I just did throughout the game. So even if you missed the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Now let's drag him back out here. Let's see if he's still with us. And oh my goodness gracious, it's the strapping Dave Klein. How about this? Maybe I'm too caught up in the moment. Maybe I'm too high in my green and white supply right now, just rooting for this team. But does this game just right all the wrongs of Tuesday? For me, it kind of does. Because in order to be in the Big Ten, you got to do a lot of things. You got to win some fringe road games that you're not going to be favored in. You have to protect your home court, and they clearly did it on Tuesday. But what they did, they also robbed a game where you are, I'm going to call it heavy underdogs on the road against Saturday night atmosphere. Illinois, talented team. They are thirsty for your
Jersey
blood.
retirement night. We can't forget that.
Jersey
went upside down.
night.
It went upside down, but
Hung upside down. T-shirts are everywhere. I'm starting to wonder if Terrence Shannon actually passed away in a recent tragedy. That's how over the top it was. But good for you. You got your upside down 0 to commemorate all the Big Ten regular season titles that he won while at Illinois there. But with all that said, that's a game that was a scheduled loss for me the entire season, not just, during this 3 out of 4 losing streak that they had. So did they steal a game that you don't expect them to win, and then that erases the home game that they weren't expected to lose? I think it cancels out. Do you think it cancels out?
Yeah.
Am I just crazy right now?
No, I think there's definitely something to be said about that. Like UCLA, who Michigan State obviously just lost to in a close one on the road, lost at Illinois to this, just the game before. So to be in this spot, they had to find a way. They just had to find a way to be able to grind one out on the road. And I agree with you. Yes, it's to me, this was a scheduled loss. You were going to split with Illinois. Yes, you dropped that one to Indiana, but this probably ends up making up for it. And now you got to back it up, though, right? If you really want to be a conference contender, then Purdue's licking their wounds a little bit. You just took a big one. You need to come home. That building needs to be electric, and you need to be able to put away a Purdue team that you potentially could be better than. So.
Joining us on that pre-game Purdue show earlier this week, Noah Eagle. That's right, from NBC. He's going to be joining the show here, so just wanted to tease that really quick to start your guys' week. But so here's where we're at right now. Let's just talk about the schedule. It's Purdue, it's at Michigan, it's at Maryland, home against Wisconsin, at Iowa, and then Michigan. Okay, those are no easy outs. Yes, Iowa, especially without Sanford, you expect to win that game, but anytime you're on the road in the Big Ten, it's tough. Didn't seem like it tonight, DK, but it is tough most of the time. Anyway, so I think the non-negotiables for Michigan State to stay in this Big Ten title chase and win is you do have to beat Purdue on Tuesday. Flatly, that's what you have to do. Split against Michigan at least, because right now, just to refresh everyone's memory, MSU sitting at 3 losses in the Big Ten. Michigan, they are sitting at 2 losses, but they have 1 more game left to play. They have 7 games left. Here's where it's interesting for Michigan, though. According to Bart Torvik, of their 7 games left, 6 of them are within a 4-point spread. So, a little coin tossy for Michigan. They are still obviously in the driver's seat for this Big Ten chase, but I think
they've been good this year. We'll give them credit.
They have, of course. Well, especially with how they're built too. Their front court players, and I know our front court shined today. Carson Cooper on the boards, Jaxon Kohler just all 94 feet of the court. But I think just outside of this game, they're more talented in the front court, and that's where Michigan State's been hung up in the last few weeks. But nevertheless, I think it's beat Purdue, and I think split Michigan, and then, well, of course, you got to win all your other games, like at Iowa, home against Wisconsin. So I don't know. That's just how I paint the picture. I hope everyone had a pen and paper out to write all that down. It kind of gets confusing just like talking about games like that, like I'm Charlie Day and Always Sunny pinning a bunch of yarn all over a board, but that's it for me. I don't think I'm over-exaggerating doing a hyperbole when I say you have to win Tuesday if you still want to stay at least in shotgun for the Big Ten title chase, right?
100%. Yeah, I think like I said, you've built some momentum. You've found a way to be able to grind one out, and you have a better test probably coming into your building, but not a test that has like an overpowering front court, which I think, you look at Michigan and Maryland left on the schedule. That's probably a little bit scarier. TKR is definitely going to get his. He's consistently proven that he's going to score, but they're not going to really overwhelm you in the front court. And so if you can contain the back court, I think that you can find a way. Like, you really just have to be okay with Braden Smith and TKR kind of getting some of theirs. And then if you shut off the water on everybody else, I think it's the bench hasn't been great. It's a little bit short staffed for them. They're talented, especially in their top three, but Michigan State has definitely a possibility to back this game up and, again, put themselves in a spot where you think that they can continue to compete for a Big Ten title. So
one more thing before we get to, just a few tweets just from a certain fan base. I'm a big historian. I wanted to look back at what people said a few weeks ago. When we did this pregame show with Locked On Illini, I said that this would be the biggest Michigan State regular season win. Of course, not tournament or anything. Probably in years. I mean, we're probably going back to like 2020. Am I a little over my skis there? Because it's a kind of a twofold thing. One, I think it was this big, going on the road, beating a team as talented as Illinois is to stay in the Big Ten title chase. You get all that. The other fold isn't as fun. Just haven't been that great the last few years. But the game where Tyson Walker, drained the
step back on Purdue,
like that sticks out. I suppose we had fun in the Champions Classic a few years ago, of course, but I think just with everything on the line, the stakes, the atmosphere, Izzo going for history, I think this is the biggest regular season win in the last 5 years. Again, am I just a little too caught up in the moment right now, DK?
No,
are you just going to keep saying yes to what I'm saying? I like this. This is great.
I'm going to just keep agreeing with you. I'm going to feed the beast and just see where it goes. But I think that you're 100% right. Like, okay, in the moment, you literally had an opportunity against an Indiana team that lost 5 in a row at home. They zoned you up and you didn't know how to respond and like kind of fumbled the bag at home. And then you backed it up by like putting on your big boy pants and finishing this game out in a moment where like the refs ended up not being great in the second half.
Your point guard can't play.
Your point guard struggled and then they just went away from it and they closed the game. And so I think ultimately, yeah, you're right. And on top of it, the all-time Big Ten wins leader, like, you can't even say what else can you say? It's huge moment. Like, he deserves it. He just kind of hung in there through this, and every time that we consider doubting him, he does seem to rise up to the occasion. It's special. It's what makes the program special for sure.
I've been turned into an idiot by Tom Izzo roughly 1,738 times ever since.
But we all keep watching it because we love you anyways. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's just a great toxic relationship we have, keeps on pulling me back every single time. And of course he did win tonight, primetime, Fox, Saturday. Like, why did I ever think Michigan State was going to lose this game? Of course he didn't want to win on Tuesday, Peacock, or last Tuesday, also Peacock. Of course he did when the lights are brightest. He acts humble. He acts like, I don't want the fanfare and the attention. Come on, Tom. We know you. Come on. We all knew this was going to happen on Fox. 8 p.m. Gus Johnson on the call. Woohoo. But it was right there in front of us the whole time. Come on. When will we learn? When will we learn? Speaking of learning, DK, I just got some tweets that I just wanted to pull up. A few weeks ago, passionate game between Michigan State and Illinois. There was one fan base that left that game crying about it for the 7 days afterwards on Twitter or X. I don't care what you want to call it, but here we go.
Days.
We're going to have some fun here. Please feel free to chime in whenever you see something you want to remark on, DK. Because Scuba Steez, he starts us off with, we're going to smoke now this is a family show, SHI bleep out of you guys the next time we play LMAO. And Family Guy, you guys are getting 30 balled in Champagne, buddy. Credit where credit's due. He kept his prediction within 50 points. He was only off by 44 points right there. So one time for Family Guy, one time for Scuba C saying that we are going to get smoked, and we did. And then the under 12 timeout in the first half happened, and then it was kind of Michigan State's game from that point on. Illinois Forever writes in, pretty much a meaningless game in January. See it down the road. You guys won by 2 at home with blatantly bad calls. Inside, you were all scared little wussies of what's gonna happen. So, DK, do you think that this was a meaningless February game too, or were tickets $150 at the cheapest just to get into whatever they call their arena these days? Just for just a coincidence, a ticketing error perhaps at Game Time or StubHub, what have you. How are they going to spin that one? Was that one meaningless, or did that one have some juice on it? I think.
I think that the moment that the TSJ jersey came into the building upside down, like if I was in the building, if that was me,
Ball game.
Michigan State, and they were retiring somebody's number, the number came up on. I would have left the building. I would have been like, "That's it."
Beat traffic.
We're cursed. It's a curse. Like who put like that's it, and that's what happened. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty funny. The moment that I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit, we have a chance." That's what I saw. That's what I felt about it.
You would think they'd get used to it after, keep on commemorating all these guys that have only gone to the second weekend once in their career or have no Big Ten title. You would think they would be used to, having the jersey right. Anyway, 9-time champs. I don't know what the 9-time champs is. Maybe he's got a really good local girls high school basketball team that tears it up. I don't know, but he said, you wussy, mean word for butt, pasty white boy. Wonder how he felt about Jaxon Kohler's night tonight. That must.
Did you tell him you just went to Disney? You got a little color. Don't let him tell you that.
That's
you
right.
got a little color.
That's right. I'm looking Dominican right now. That's how tan I got in Orlando. That's right, baby. IL alumni said, how exactly would you describe your speech impediment, Sheehan? Having a hard time putting a finger on what's wrong with the way you talk? Let me know. Thanks. Well, it's not as bad as a coaching impediment that you guys have over there. Again, 33 threes. Nice work. 1 of 16 in the second half. Why don't you? My goodness gracious, you guys are just a great, well-oiled machine over there. 13, big, tall bastard writes in, I was told you're insecure about your weak chin. Is that true? Well, not as insecure as you guys are about, just, fact of the matter, rooting for a mid-tier program. You guys walk around like you're UConn or Michigan State or a team that actually has any meaningful history, but no, fact of the matter is, 1 Big Ten title ever since Underwood took over. 1 second weekend of the tournament. Why are you guys always beating your chests like that? So, no, I'm not insecure, of course. If you want to test the chin out, go ahead, drive up. I don't really care. But in the meantime, why don't we just sit and think about what our program truly is down there in Champaign? It's not much. I can look at the Wikipedia page to know that that's true. DK, I'm sorry. Am I getting ahead of myself right here?
No, I just keep going.
I'm just doing facts. I'm just doing facts here. Illini and Nation 23, we would, okay, we were missing a word here from him. I guess we would like to congratulate Izzo for having the refs in his back pocket for home games. Little fact, and this is where a lot of the tweets came from. It's that ever since Brad Underwood took over, Michigan State and Illinois have played at Breslin Center 5 times. How many times has MSU shot more free throws than Illinois in those games? It's just twice. This is what I mean when they create their own boogeymen in their own head, talking about refs, especially when they play at Breslin Center. And then here you go, game in Champaign, 33 free throws to 13, and you still couldn't not just win, keep it in double digits. That's embarrassing. That's humiliating. I don't even know how it's physically possible to do in the game of basketball, but nevertheless, leave it to the Brad Underwood crew to figure that one out. Colton writes in, it's hilarious when Tom Izzo said Illinois is better than Michigan State. LOL, he's telling the truth. Sure, I got no problem saying that Illinois is more talented. Figure out how that doesn't mean that you're anywhere close to a Big Ten title right now. I had no issue saying that. Yes, with a top 5 NBA pick, with the great center you guys have, Will Riley, of course, Gibbs Longhorn. How are you that bad? No problem saying that there is a talent disparity. Unfortunately, that team is 0-2 in this series so far. Do you agree with that? Is Illinois a little more talented? Because sometimes in basketball, a team game is won by a team. I think. I don't know.
No doubt. I mean, listen, they have had the talent, I think, all year. They're obviously a younger team, and so, there's some qualifications you make for it, but at a certain point, I think that the potential for the team has to meet expectations, and we're getting to the end of the season and they haven't quite done that yet. So overall, like the win column speaks for itself, and like a nice just all-around win for the Spartans tonight for sure.
And Southern Crossbaits writes in, why the butt hurt since the dinosaur is so wonderful and successful? My guess is the fan base is grasping at history because they can see the end coming. Well, we got some history tonight. Win number 354. You nailed that one. And you know what? Speaking of history, Caleb Sense, he's our last one here. It's kind of crazy how irrelevant Michigan State has been the last decade. You know what? I'm actually going to open up the window a little wider here. 20 years. How about 2 decades there? Because in 2 decades, Illinois, you want to talk about irrelevant? 1 conference title, 1 second weekend appearance in the NCAA tournament, which, by the way, they got beat by about 80 billion points in. Who's irrelevant? Is it Michigan State, the guy that has the coach at the top of the Big Ten leaderboard that has more banners than you guys have and might ever have at this rate? I don't know what you guys plan to do in the future, but yeah, I don't know if that's irrelevant. But yeah, that's just where I was going to kind of end things on, just a little history lesson. So was that too mean?
No, you asked me if I wanted to stay during it, and I was glad that I did. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot for joining, DK. I know you had to sit through a lot of that, but yeah, again, I'm a big history guy. I do like to look at old quotes. So, yeah, that's what I got for you. Anything else you want to leave with, DK? So, yeah.
No, huge, absolute big win, and I'm so happy that you invited me on, brother. Have a great
night. When my phone lit up and said that you would like to join, a tear came to my eye, DK. I said, you know what? Every Saturday is great, especially as a Spartan. But man, after a win, Dave Klein, Spartans Illustrated.
Who else would I would have rather spent the night with but you?
This is great, man. Cheers, DK. And I'm going to let everyone down here. This is the biggest upset of the night. I told you this before recording. This is all water in this glass, too. I didn't have a single drink tonight, so this was all stone sober. Call that growth or something. I don't know. It's actually not growth. I'm coming off of a 7-day bender in Orlando. So, all right, enough about my life. Go, everyone else, live your best life out there. Oh, God, again, we will be back. Noah Eagle. Of course, he's a play-by-play guy over at NBC. He's going to be joining the show to break down Boilermakers, Spartans on Tuesday. We might even get a little football talk. We definitely will later in the week, but hey, nevertheless, guys, DK, love you. All the viewers, the listeners, I love you guys as well. You guys are all the best. Go Green, go Jaxon Kohler, go Tom Izzo, go Trey Holloman, go Cohen Carr, go Carson Cooper, go everyone.